practice along with Coach Norvell's. Kind of how did you guys get involved with Courtney being from Virginia, and how did all that play out?
Coach Dillingham was actually doing some research on some of the, we have a system that collects a lot of data from camps that guys go to, and that was especially helpful in the process where we weren't able to go out this spring. So they were able to go out and do some of these camps, so we get the information. Well, we put that in our system and just looking for who were the highest performers at these camps, and when we ran the numbers, Brian was one of the guys the guy ran 4.56 at camp. At 225 pounds, he jumped well. So, we immediately pull this guy's tape up, and you see him playing quarterback, making plays. You're like, wow, this guy has skills that will translate very well at the college level. So that's really kind of how that came about. And once we got to know him more and know more about the kid, that's when we were like, wow, we got a guy here that's going to impact our program. And when he came on his visit, the thing that impressed me the most was all he didn't really care about a lot of things other than I want to see. That was during the summer. He wanted to see the team work out. He wanted to, hey, do you want to go do a photo shoot? Do you want to go do it? No, coach, I want to go watch the guys work out. I want to see what they're doing. That was really all he was interested in. And he wanted to go watch film. He wanted to see what we do drill-wise, how we practice, and he's an extremely bright guy. Obviously, he was interested in the academic part, but his focus was, I want to know about the football end of it. So you feel like you got a guy there that loves the game, and guys like that typically develop into something that really helps your program.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
No problem. Appreciate it.
With Brian, you mentioned the measurables for him, and plays quarterback, gritty, tough. He does all sorts of things. As far as transitioning him to tight end, I guess what kind of process do you think that's going to be like? Is that something that could take a couple of years, or do you think that could be a quicker transition?
You never know. You never really know. Like I said, I've coached a couple of guys in my career that were high school quarterbacks that transitioned to tight end in college and they end up playing in the NFL. And then Wyatt Rector, when we got here, was a quarterback, had never done any of the blocking. So all those kind of guys are a little bit different in their development. Brian's one of those guys. He's sought out a couple of guys, and that area that he lives in, there's a lot of former NFL players, and he's found a couple of former NFL tight ends that have already kind of started that process with him of helping him develop. So I don't expect that to take a long time. I expect him to come in, and I expect him to impact on the special teams quickly. But how quickly he adapts to tight end, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Fortunately, we have a tight end room where he's got a little bit of time to develop. He's not going to be thrown in the fire right away unless he's ready. So, but everybody's different on that. I don't expect him to take. The thing with him, he's very intelligent, so he'll pick the stuff up quick, and then it's just a matter of how comfortable can he get at this level.
When projecting what he's going to be at tight end, are you more excited about what you see him do at a defensive film or at quarterbacks, or is it both?
Mainly quarterback. You see him run. You get to see they run a lot of quarterback direct run stuff, so you get to see him run the football, and you get to see the explosiveness that he has. And we also had him in camp, so we got to see kind of where he's at in terms of route running, ball skills, fundamentals and blocking. We got a good idea of where he's at. The thing with him, he's a football junkie. I mean, he's a very smart dude. He's going to be a great student, but all he cared about when he came on his visit is I want to watch the guys work out. I want to see what they're doing. I want to watch film. I want you to show me how you're going to teach me how to block. He was very turned on to that process of what's the development piece. So you got a guy that I think will excel quickly just because of that mindset.
And then with Powers, if I recall correctly, at the time you guys were excited when you got him, thinking that was someone that under the radar that you kind of stuck in there. Seemed like he had a really good senior season as well as he kind of developed as what you guys would hope he would when he first committed.
Yeah, he is. The surprising, and I had a lot of people. Again, we didn't get to go out in the spring and see those guys like you normally do, so we weren't really sure how big he is. You always get people tell you measurements, but I had a couple of people around him that I trust to kind of give me information, and they said this is a big kid. Like, this kid's going to be a really big kid, and so you always hear that, and then before you see a guy, you really don't know. He walks in like he's a big dude. He's got length, he's got quickness, he's got a good burst speed, he's got good ball skills, but he measured a flat-footed, true 6'4", and he was 238 pounds. That's a big kid for a guy just coming out of his junior year who can also run. So I expect him to be a 250 guy, after a year or two, and be a guy that can handle himself in both the blocking and the route game. And, those are the things that you see that you like, that you think you can develop.
And then looking forward, Jordan Wilson's obviously moving on. I think Cam said today in the Spaces that he was coming back next year, but I don't know if that's been officially announced. So I don't want to make you say that. But what do you think the tight end room is going to look like next year? What's your confidence level in that group?
Yeah, I mean, the confidence level for me is high. I mean, Cam was a guy that does a lot of really good things. He's played a lot of football. You got a very, very experienced player there. You got some other guys that are very young in that room that are really coming on. You got some guys that are sort of not quite seniors, but in that middle range, like Wyatt Rector. You got Preston there going into his third year. You got and then you got young guys like Marquiston and Jackson West. So I can't wait for spring ball. I'm excited about that group, and I'm ready to get going with them.